name's Caden Byers, and I'm going to inform you today about the history of Kansas State football. Kansas State has a great history and an interesting story that I think all people will enjoy. Kansas State used to be really bad at football, like really, really bad. But everything changed in 1989 when they hired Bill Snyder as their head football coach. I'm credible because I've attended just about every home game that there has been in the last 15 years, I guess. And I think all of us live in Kansas, so we know about K-State football, but maybe if some of you are K-State fans, you want to know more about it, or if you're just neutral but enjoy football and you want to know more about it, or maybe you don't like K-State, you're a dirty KU fan, and maybe you could be turned to the light side after you listen to this. So today I'm going to give you the story of Kansas State and how they rose from the ashes of awfulness and became a national power. So first I'm going to begin where before Snyder got here, and in 1989 in Sports Illustrated, usually if you get into Sports Illustrated, it's something you did good. Maybe you won a Super Bowl or something like that. But there was an article published in Sports Illustrated by Douglas Looney called Futility U, and it was basically about how bad K-State was at football. There's a quote in there. The coach at the time from 86 to 89 was a guy by the name of Stan Parrish, and after his team went 0-10 in 1987, he said he promised that it won't happen again, and then 1988 the team was 0-11 and he got fired. So K-State did not win a game for 3 years from 1986 to 1988. Easily the worst college football team of all time. From the end of World War II in 1945 to 1989, Kansas State had 4 winning seasons in 50 years. And they had the worst record in college football, 209 wins, 509 losses, and 41 ties. They had ties back then, you could tie. So then, Snyder gets here in 1989 after being an offensive coordinator at Iowa, and this is the quote that he gave at his introductory press conference that has kind of become famous at Kansas State. He said, "This is the opportunity for the greatest turnaround in college football history. It exists here today and is not one to be taken lightly." So, Snyder gets here in 1989, and one of the first things he says is we have to bring pride back to the university. During all the losing years, all the K-State football players would not wear their Letterman's jackets because they were so embarrassed of being on the football team that they didn't want people to know that they were on the football team. So they would not wear their Letterman's jackets. So his first year, he gets there and they win one game, the last game of the season, against North Texas, and that would only win one game. But by 1993, things started to pick up, and they actually had a winning season, and they would go on to win the Copper Bowl. It was the first bowl game in a long time. My uncle was actually on that team. He played safety for them, and so he's told me a lot of cool stories about what it's like to play for Coach Snyder and stuff. But yeah, so that's how bad K-State was. Worst team of all time by far. But once Snyder gets there, he has a couple rough years, but eventually gets things going, and they win the Copper Bowl, setting up a very successful next 11 or so years. So sustained success. From 1993 to 2003, they appeared in 11 straight bowl games. They're the second program in history over that stretch to win 9 or more games in a 7-year stretch. Second program in history. In 1998, they were ranked number 1, first number 1 ranking in school history. Some of the great players they had, think of Michael Bishop, Terrence Newman, Darren Sproles over that stretch. Two of them have had successful NFL careers. One of the things that Snyder did differently than other programs, it's difficult to recruit high school kids to Manhattan, Kansas. When you think of Manhattan, Kansas, and it's just a normal little small town in the middle of Kansas, nobody really knows about it. So one of the things that he started doing, he started recruiting junior college. And you think of junior college, you think of like Butler Community College, you think of Coffeyville Community College, and those are really good football teams. And so one thing he did that nobody else in the country had started doing was he started recruiting those junior college players. And one of those junior college players was Michael Bishop. And he was really the first of his time to be a successful junior college player and be successful at the next level in Division I college football, and he was actually the runner-up to the Heisman in 1998. So he started a trend. So nowadays, you see lots of schools. You see Alabama. You see Ohio States of the world. Those big-time programs. They do recruit junior colleges every now and then. So he started a new trend in recruiting. So after he goes, has a great success from 1993 to 2003. And in 2003, he wins the Big 12 championship, upsets Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. And then 2 years later, he decides to retire in 2005. Some people thought it was a little early, but K-State won their last game. I was there. It was awesome. He won his last game as what we thought was his last game as head coach at Kansas State, at least at home. It was his last game. So that's how good Kansas State was. Kansas State got really good. And then I'll tell you how Snyder came back and how K-State is going today. So 3 years after a really bad Ron Prince era, where Ron Prince was hired after Bill Snyder retired, and he basically changed everything that Bill Snyder did. The way that people ran the program, and the way practices were run, and the way players handled themselves. He just changed everything, and everybody from fans like me to the big, expensive, rich donors that donate money did not like it. And so after 3 years, he was fired. So after looking for coaches, eventually Bill Snyder was hired again to come back, and in his press conference he said he was just going to calm the waters. But he has done more than that since he came back in 2009. He won the program's second Big 12 championship in 2012, the program's second Heisman finalist in Colin Klein, and he has appeared in 5 straight bowl games and counting. The streak is still going. So he's obviously had success, and we're set up for future success. We've had okay recruiting classes lately, and that was one of the things that we had kind of struggled with prior to him. So Snyder today, some of the impact, he's had more impact, maybe more impact than he has on actual product on the field. The city of Manhattan, since he arrived, has grown immensely, and it's still growing. Just the university alone has grown. Obviously, you can see the facility improvements. They've invested over $200 million, Kansas State has, into their facilities. You look at the new press box and the new football complex. I've been in the new football complex. It's probably one of the nicest in the nation by far. And then this past year, he was inducted into the 2015 College Football Hall of Fame. The only reason he wasn't inducted earlier is because you have to be 75. If you're an active coach, you can't be inducted until you're 75. So that's how old he is. He's 75 and he's still going, one of the best coaches in the nation. And then obviously he's helped the economic development in Manhattan. The last 25 years, Dave Dreiling is the owner of GTM Sportswear. Everybody knows what that is. Is a quote that says, "I would say Bill Snyder is more responsible for the economic development in Manhattan the last 25 years than any other person. Winning games started bringing fans back, and that brought pride back, and that carried over to the university as a whole." I mean, anytime you walk down, say, Aggieville, you walk down Morrow Street, I mean, on a game day, it's crazy. There's tons of people there, and it's helped out so many businesses that there's a good football team that honestly the whole state of Kansas can get behind. So yeah, that's actually what next. But closing. So yeah, Bill Snyder is responsible for the greatest coaching job in the history of college football. He hasn't had the most success. There's been coaches that have had more national championships, more things like that. But he is responsible for the greatest coaching job because he took the team that was so low and brought them pretty high. So today I've given you information about how far Kansas State has come and some of the success and players that they've had over the years and where K-State is going today. I hope that you've been inspired by the story of Kansas State. I'm going to be interested to learn more about some of the historic and memorable moments that this great football team that I love has to offer.